We got border laid out. We got the fire pit laid out. We got the fire pit border laid out. We're gonna mark this line and cut it. Hey bud, listen man, like it or you not. Wow. Using a steel TS 420. You can have somebody with a beer cart drive still in front of you.
Yeah.
Imagine, dude, you had a party and a beer cart just comes around.
That would be sick.
We got these metal vents on each side. I checked quite a few times. Make sure that pan fits. Let's take a walk down the walkway. Friday, October 27th, 2023. Happy Friday. Did some stuff here off camera last night and this morning. These beds are filled with some nice topsoil. More cuts were made, more border was done. Got a little bump out. It's most likely where the grill's gonna be. That's why that propane's coming up. We got border laid out. We got the fire pit laid out. We got the fire pit border laid out. It's about 5.5 feet between those two spots right there, and then it narrows down to just 5 feet around the back. Benny's about to do some moving around because we're gonna mark this line and cut it. Chris, what do you think about that backup alarm, dude? So loud, right? So loud.
Very safe, though.
Very safe. Someone sent me a link on my channel. You can replace that with one that like goes up and down, like depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Like if everywhere around you is really loud, it picks up on that and it makes it sound louder. I gotta buy it. Benny's moving stuff out of the way so we don't splatter it with wet paste. Let's see if he's got that. Let's see if he's got it. Of course he's got it. He's a video gamer, bro. Oh! Just kidding. He's like, yeah, I know. It's all business. Except he doesn't see the bucket behind him. Oh, now he does. Hey, you see the bucket? The controls on that thing are really touchy. It's just gonna drop it over there somewhere and try to get some of this stuff pulled out of the way. And we're gonna get into cutting all this stuff. I got a lot of cutting to do right now. I'm gonna start with the outside border. That way, after that's cut and after the fire pit's cut, Ben can start laying the border in. The gaps are pretty good size, about 1 inch right here, which a lot of people will tell you or say that you should cut these pavers at an angle to get them tighter, which you can if you want to, but it's a lot of time and a lot of extra money and effort, and it also takes away from that rustic joint line look. You know, depending on who you are and what your taste is, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, if I have to cut every one of these pavers on both sides, that's going to cost the customer a lot of money, and it's just not worth it. It still has a nice look, as you can see just with it laid out. So we're going to use this pencil and just mark the inside line of everything. Then I'm going to use my saw, score the line to put a mark in it, and then we'll be able to cut it all the way through. Hey bud.
Yeah.
Listen man, like it or you not. Wow. Listen man.
Yep.
Like it or not, people love you, bro. They love your walkway too.
Yeah.
Because I know I do.
Straight.
Mm-hmm. Good talk. I might put some ear protection on. Whoa! You think we need to move those pallets? Probably, huh? Yeah. Why don't you mark everything up, man? I'm gonna move some things around a little bit more. Cut that fabric, just get stuff out of our way. Oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. Dude, it does. It looks like a dinosaur, man. The walkway is a tail. Weird tail. I don't know, dude. Cyclops, alien, cyborg with a tail. That was a battle. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So this is gonna be where we cut for the fire pit. Ben's gonna have the hose, be able to just spray the saw and keep the pieces clean. My saw, where you hook the hose in, unfortunately it doesn't hold on or put water through right now. There's something wrong with it, but even if there wasn't, I'd still just use a hose. Then somebody's always there to wash everything off, keep it clean. All right, time to cut. Saw's gassed up, using a steel TS 420. Looks good, huh?
Greatest curve I've ever seen.
Just want to thank my fans and Chris. I hope the GoPro picked them up. I hope the GoPro picked them up. Now we like to wet just everything down, because when you're cutting with water it creates this wet paste, and if that wet paste hits a dry surface it stains it and gets stuck to it really easy. It's a pain, so wetting everything down helps prevent that. Even things around it that your spray may be hitting. For us, we're cutting in that stone bed and we're going to face it out, and all we're going to be doing is hitting dirt and grass. We may spray the grass down just a little bit, but the dirt, we don't really want to make more mud than we have to. These are some curvy curves. That circle is a circular circle. Tell your dad. Tell your dad. So when you're cutting curves or circles for a paver project, you have inner radius cuts and outer radius cuts. What I'm starting with, which is the outer radius cut, is the outer portion of the fire pit sitting area. And all those pavers can stay right in place and I can cut them, because as I go around and cut the back of the blade, it slightly damages the paver on the outside, so we can leave the piece that we want to save laid down and not worry about causing damage to the paver. But when you're doing inner radius cuts like these fire pit pieces you'll see in a minute here, if you try to cut it in place as you do the circle, the blade is gonna swing around and damage and crack and chip the pieces that you want to save. So you have to pull them out and cut them one by one. And you'll see what I'm talking about more in a minute here, but the outer radius cuts are much easier than the inner radius cuts and less likely to damage anything. Time to cut the fire pit. Just gonna do the same thing you just saw. We're gonna grab about 4 or 5 pieces at a time, bring them over there, cut them, put them back in place, grab a few more. Unfortunately, with the way it laid out, there's a couple pieces that are smaller than I like to have for sure. That's one of them. I think Ben grabbed one of them. Oh no, he didn't. Oh, this one. 1, 2, couple really small pieces, but you can only shift it around so much, dude. It's a tight circle, you know. So like I was saying with the inner radius cuts, you almost have to like carve it out So I try to make a straight cut to get the majority off of the junk piece. And then I go in and I carve it to the score line that I made. That's why that score line is so important, because as you're cutting each piece individually, you're going to be able to carve it right to where you want that mark to be. And if you were to try to do that in place, you'd mess up the paver that goes behind it and in front of it. Now I know if you have a smaller saw, a smaller blade, you can get in there and kind of carve it out easier. You might be able to do a lot of these inner radius cuts that I pick up. You might be able to do them in place. But what I've found is that even when you're able to do that, because I've used smaller saws too, and it's impressive that you can carve the radiuses out in place, but what happens is you still disturb the bedding material that's underneath the pavers. So you have to pick them up, re-level the area, and then put them down again. So you basically have to pick them up no matter what. So my preference is to pick up the inner radius no matter what, cut them on the side. And the reason that I like doing that is because the bigger saw, you might have to carve it a little bit more, but the amount of horsepower and how fast you can cut the paver more than makes up for it in the end. But that's just my personal preference. Everyone likes their own saws, especially in the industry. Everyone has their own comfortable tools they've been using since they started that they just kind of want to stick with. Mine is this Steel TS420. I've been using this saw since I was probably 18, 19 years old. And this model has changed a little bit, but over the years, it's been basically the same model, just remade and made a little bit better. Based on the feedback given to them from people using it like us, and it's just a super comfortable and strong saw. Happy Halloween, dude.
Happy Halloween.
October 31st. We're back. Cuts all look good. Gonna finish the border. I'm gonna start on one side, Ben will start on the other. We'll meet in the middle over here somewhere. Once that border's done, Ben will be able to do the concrete around the edges. He stopped right about there. We got another 5 bags of concrete, so he'll be able to wrap himself around. If we need more, we'll be able to get it. And once that border's done, I'm gonna shift focus over to this fire pit area, lay in the border pavers, and then lay in the first course of block. Nice new boots, dude. Some Keens.
Yep. Comfy.
Benny's in the Keens.
Yep. Take them disc golfing too.
Are ya?
Yeah.
You better.
Waterproof.
Yeah.
See how they hold up.
Disc goes in the river, you just walk through it?
Yeah, walking through it up to my ankles at least.
Yeah.
That's looking.
Alright, man. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
The first point of failure in pretty much every paver project is going to be the border or the edges. And there's a lot of reasons for it, but the number one reason, in my opinion, is that people lay the border or the edges of their paver projects without thinking about how the edges sink or settle more than the center of the project. So you need to compensate for that by lifting the border pavers or the pavers that are going to be on the edge up higher than the main pavers are after they've already been settled, and then settle them down into place. Typically, I'll go 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch higher and settle it down into place so I know that that base material and bedding material is compact underneath those pavers. And then we also use concrete along the outer edge of the pavers. If you watch my channel, you know what I'm talking about and how we do it. But for somebody trying to learn on their own, this is the one thing you don't want to mess up, and that's the border. Make sure the border is compacted well and secured well. And in my opinion, concrete around the edge is the best way for that. But not just the concrete. You need to lift them up higher and settle them into place. It's something that so many people don't do, and it shows a few years later after they installed it. The outside border is all set. Benny's getting ready to concrete it. What do you think, dude?
It's great.
I do too.
What do you think?
I think it's really nice. Be able to put another like 4 or 5 chairs on this side, dude. Wrap around.
Friggin' bench.
Then you still got like
circular bench that follows almost the curvature of like the fire pit.
That'd be nice, dude. Honestly, a sitting wall around the back of this would be cool, but I feel like it's a little too far away from the pit.
Oh, maybe not. If you're literally sitting
It's
right
not
here,
too bad.
It's not that bad.
You can have somebody with a beer cart drive still in front of you.
Yeah.
Imagine, dude, you had a party and a beer cart just comes around.
That would be sick. I'm coming.
I'm coming. So Benny's gonna do that concrete. I'm gonna lay the border in on the fire pit and then start building the fire pit. We are going to be using polymeric sand in the joints, but between the fire pit and the pavers, we're going to use the chip stone we use for our bedding material. That's going to help allow water to travel through and drain around the fire pit, just in case anything were to get hung up right here. Like the slope is coming this way, so if the water comes down, it'll hit that little bead of chip stone and then be able to drain into our nice clean aggregate base stone. The biggest gap is about 1 inch. Pretty much every polymeric sand that you could buy is good up to 1 inch. That's what they all claim. And that's the biggest joint right there. So we send it like that. Like I had mentioned before, you just can't get yourself into cutting each side of every paver. You spend a lot of time doing that. And personally, it ends up taking away the nice beveled edge or the nice wavy edge of the paver in our situation, and makes them all look like just straight cuts. And you don't want that in an application like this. So time to lay the first row of block. It's gonna pop out just a little bit above the paver, and like half of it or a little more than half is gonna be buried. And the paver is gonna help lock everything together. So we'll rake that out or trowel it out, get it close, lay out all the blocks, and then just kind of hammer them all into place and level them all off. It's forgiving when you're building the fire pit. You can be up to like 1/8 off level. We try to get it level for a fire pit, but if you're off just a hair, that's okay, as long as all the blocks are nice and flat with each other. Then he's got some concrete down over here. And this is all going to be a stone apron right here, because it's all sloped this way and this way, so it's going to catch all the surface water and let it permeate down into the base and into the soil. And this big dry well that we made is going to help also. It's like a 2.5 to 3 foot hole, and probably about 6 feet out by 5 or 6 feet wide, all filled with clean stone. No water issues, bud. First row's in, and I decided to go with the slope of the patio. So it goes this way and that way. There's 5 rows in this particular fire pit, so every row needs to be glued. It's usually about 1 small tube of glue per row. But I'm gonna let those blocks dry up a little bit. Me and Ben got a few other things to do before we get back to this. And as we build, the customer does have the insert here, the propane insert. So we got to just make sure that fits in as we go up with the rows. And that's it. How's the concrete coming, bud? Of course it is. That concrete is noticeably way better, dude.
Oh my gosh. Even when you're pushing it around, it's just 10 times easier.
Yep.
Way less watery.
Pro Masonry. When you call your company Pro Masonry, you better have some good mortar and concrete.
High strength.
Pew. Alright, we figured some things out. That's the second to last row. And we put these supports under that row. That's gonna help hold the plate that the burners come up through. And then that holds the logs. That's gonna rest on that and help support it. We got a spot that I had to pull a block out because I guess the customer just wanted to buy a control piece. It actually replaces a block. And that's where you turn the valve on and control the heat, the flow of the propane or gas. And then on that third row, we got these metal vents on each side. And with propane or gas, that's a necessity. You need airflow in case the propane ever gets trapped there. It needs to be able to escape, so you can't close it off. So those vents are in, and then once we get that control box in right there, we can cover it. What's up, dude?
Not much.
Not much.
Freaking cold.
Yeah, it is, man. It's chilly. It's all looking good here. That's it, just down to the fire pit, man. Stone apron is installed. Spring is when we're gonna do some really final work here. Alright, the second to last course is glued, and with a little shifting around we got just enough room. They do not give you much room for error, but it comes in and out, no problem. So on this next course we just got to make sure the same thing, that lid just kind of, the base comes in and out, no problem. And if so, from there on out it's plumber's problem, Benny. Yep. Whoever's hooking up all the fittings and everything,
that's right,
it's their problem. Got the block supporting those two blocks just for now. Then once there's other ones on top of it, it'll secure it. But the control box that he's going to be installing just slides in and out, and it's the same width of the block. So once that's all secured, I'll pull that block, and that space is where they're going to be able to go in and out with connecting the control onto it. So I'll be able to just kind of turn it on and off from the front. Work out perfect. Let's get that last course on. Well, there it is, guys. Fire pit is built. Cover's on. I checked quite a few times. Make sure that pan fits and can come out, and it does. Lift all the parts he needs in there. Let's take a walk down the walkway. Customer still wants to be able to figure out exactly how we're going to be able to enter onto the walkway, but came out sick, bro.
Yeah, I did. Real sick.
Wanna tell these people goodbye?
Goodbye. On to the next one.
You know it, brother. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you want to see all the videos from it, check out the link in the description below. But as always, you know the deal. God bless. Peace.